Today is a Buggy Wednesday. We're making little bugs today. We're gonna make a grasshopper. This cute little grasshopper with these little wings. I use rusty wire here. And we're gonna make this cute little flying ladybug. I can fly. These are really cute if you suspend them on little strings. They're a little bit nitpicky about how we make them. They have lots of little parts. So let me go through what you're gonna need for them. I'll try and leave these in the frame so you can see them while we're working, but I don't know if they are in the frame. So for colors, obviously the ladybug you need. I'm using scarlet red, raven black, and a tiny bit of core for the body. And then the grasshopper, I use this hand-dyed brown on the inside as a core. And I'm using the Capriana green as his body, and then raven black for his eyeballs. So some other things you're gonna need. The way I made my feathers is how I make my wings. I'm using HeatnBond Ultra Hold iron-on adhesive, and I'm gonna show you how to use it. I cut a little piece off already. And this one right here was done with just some stuff called Craft Fuse. I don't like how that one turned out. So I just went to the regular HeatnBond. And this is how the HeatnBond is a lot stiffer. Liking it a lot. So HeatnBond Ultra Hold, you need some of that. Felting needles. To glue in my legs, I like this Gorilla Super Glue with a brush and a nozzle. I feel like I'm doing product demonstration. We don't get any kickbacks for this, so it has a nozzle. But this is the awesomest super glue because it has this nifty brush. Nifty brush. Anyways, you have less likely chance of getting it on your fingers. Then you're going to need wire. I am using an 18 gauge rusty wire. And you know, we've talked about this a lot before. I get my rusty wire from factorydirectcraft.com. I just feel like it gives some depth. And then you need some 26 gauge floral wire. That is if you're making the grasshopper. That's for his little antennas. But we use 18 gauge wire on each of those. You need a skewer to put your wires through. Your various felting needles. I actually have in our arsenal today a 42 gauge, the red one, because the little eyeball detail. Scissors. You need some scissors, some wire cutters, a ruler. Just all the things, you guys, so many things. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to, you need your little craft iron. You can use a regular iron. I'm going to turn ours on so it gets hot. The little iron to make these make the wing material. So I like to use the HeatnBond like this. I peeled the paper off. And, you know, you discard that. So we have, don't iron it onto your pad like this or it'll be there forever. So we're going to make some ladybug wings here. Oh, and then you need your gel. I forgot about the gel again. You know, my magic gel trick. So I use the gel. And this is the brand I use, this Extreme. Get on Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive. Extreme hair gel. Believe it or not, hair gel is the bomb. And then a paintbrush, and I use a silicone sheet to paint on. That way you can just rinse it off. You can just rinse off. Silicone is the bomb. So we're going to lay out our scarlet in a very thin layer. Kind of work it. Doesn't matter if it's, you don't want to iron your HeatnBond to your pad. So you want to make sure you got a pretty good layer under it, but thin. Just nice and thin. Then we're going to go over top of it. I am going past the HeatnBond with my scarlet. I just want to make a nice little square because we're going to cut our wings out of it. This has so many implications of things you can make doing this. So many things with your little sheet. You can also wet felt your wings if you want. This is just the fast way. This is the fast way. Our iron is heated up just in time. That worked out well. You take your little craft iron and you're going to just hold it on there like for 10 seconds. Don't run it back and forth yet. And then just keep moving it around. You can see it's already adhering. Kind of know where the edges are in your mind, so you know when you've gotten it. I put some good pressure on it, just like when you're using HeatnBond with fabric. You know, we probably could cut out little felt HeatnBond squares and make the wings. So when you first lift it up, it's gonna still be flimsy because it's hot. As it cools off, it'll get a little stiffer. I'm only going to show you how to make the red one because I already have enough green left to make like 4 more little grasshoppers. So once you get it going, you can just, now don't turn your iron off. Remember how we did the feathers? If you watched the feather video. Okay, so got that all set up. So I got my gel in here and I'm just going to lightly spread it on the fabric we just HeatnBond. And I know you're thinking, what is the purpose of that? Well, because this is kind of flimsy a little bit still. And you know, you might get fibers that come off. That means that they weren't adhered. Just take them off. It means that they did not come in contact with the HeatnBond, which is fine. You know, that means you were thicker than you needed to be. You can see I have a whole section. It's good that you can see that happen, because then you won't think something is going wrong. So I'm only saturating one side this time. With the feathers, I did both. And it's not super saturated. I'm just putting a nice layer on top of this fiber. If this was someone's hair, it would turn into a board, because this stuff is pretty stiff once it dries. Put that aside. Hold on, it's stuck to my fingers. So now I'm going to pass this back. Okay, that's all we have to use the dirty mat for. All right, so now I have this piece. It's dry on one side, wet on this side. Your iron is still on. I love this iron because it's Teflon and nothing sticks to it. Not HeatnBond. What I'm doing is drying out the gel. Can you hear it sizzling? It's cooking it. Yep, it'll take off some of the fibers, and that's okay. It means they're not stuck. Whoa. Hold on to one side while you're doing this. Hey, look, there's a piece of somebody's farm in there. Do you see it? We won't use that. You can see it's getting stiffer already. This is a process because basically what we're doing is drying out our gel, and it heat sets the fiber. I don't know if you can see it. It's already becoming very stiff. All right, so let me check this out. I'm going to take off some of this. You can see that we're getting stiffer. Now let's go from the other side. It takes a lot of moisture to get wool wet, so we're not really wet. It's just a surface application. I like this because the wings, everything stays thin this way. If you ever looked at a ladybug up close, they have really thin wings. It's kind of amazing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, you let it cool off a little bit. See how it's nice and flat? And then you're going to cut out that one wing. I'm freehanding it. It's kind of like a raindrop shape. I have a template, always have a template, you know that. Cannon will take a picture and put it in the video, in the video comments. So we have two little wings that match. So that's going to be our wings. I am going to now add the black spots. So you have your raven. Okay, so they've cooled off. You can see one side, because we didn't gel it, is fuzzy. See how fuzzy that is? The other side is nice and smooth. I like the smooth side up, but you might choose to have the fuzzy side up. So I like to put one dot here. Just take a little bit of raven. We're going to make a little dot. Now, because we have HeatnBond in there, it's going to be like felting through a little piece of paper. And you can hear it. It's stiff. Actually, what the problem is. Switch. Okay, I'm switching. So many little parts today. So now, I like to make the wings the same. There we go. Now that we have a surface that will give under it. I'm using my 38 star spiral, the trusty workhorse of them all. Let's see, today is the 19th, right, Cannon?
Yeah.
Okay, so today's the 19th, which means you still have time to enter our giveaway. We have a giveaway going on the liongate.org page. Just go there, find the giveaway tag, and enter. You only need to enter one time ever. It's just going to keep building. We're going to have our monthly giveaway, and out of the pot of names, we will draw one. So you don't need to enter more than once. It doesn't give you more chances to win. And then if we ever have something exciting to tell you, we will email you from that pot of emails. But you know, so far, this is the most exciting thing we have. So I only put 3 dots. You could put as many as you want. Some ladybugs have a lot of spots. You could always turn this into those evil little green cucumber beetles that have spots. Those get in my dahlias. I don't like those little guys. They would be cute if they didn't eat my dahlias. Our spots on. You can build these up. You can make them flat and not use a lot of fiber. The most important thing to do, though, let's get this is a detail needle. It helps catch all your stray fibers. So the most important thing is to just make sure you have all the fibers felted in. Somebody requested a ladybug, that's why we're doing one. I didn't want to do the classic, just little ladybug. I wanted to do a flying one. Ken says it looks like a bee, but I think it looks like a ladybug. Okay, so we have 2 little wings, and you can see we're gonna get some fiber going through the back. Tuck it in. You just want to keep that back nice and neat because this is a wing. I think when you're flat felting like this on something flat, it's good to look at the back because you can see how well felted it is. And you may have a tiny bit of red that has come through. You want to check that. There we go. Okay, we have our wings, extraneous parts done. There's our little wings. All right, so now you're going to take some core wool. We're going to make the little body of this ladybug. And you can see it's like a little bowling pin shape. You can use dark core. I'm just using light core. I'm going to take a piece off. I split it, and I am just going to wrap it. And on the template, it kind of shows you how big. Now, you can make these guys any size. You don't have to go with my size. I like them kind of little. Cannon likes this bigger one, but this bigger one only has 4 legs. He needs another set of legs. I think he likes the eyeballs. So I just wrap. This is going to be my body. I'm going to give it a couple stabs. And you know what I say, whenever you're using a skewer, make sure you stab around the top, stab around the bottom here. Otherwise, when you pull your skewer out, all your guts are going to come with it. We had a week of cold weather, didn't we, Cannon?
No.
Yes, it was freezing. It almost froze here. Where were you? Okay, so now I'm going to stab this nice and flat. Cannon's working now, so he has to squeeze us in. And we had a big wedding. We had a big giant wedding. It's our 3rd one. It's definitely a learning experience. So now I'm going to take some Raven black. You know, if you go on the website to order this and you're looking for black, it says Raven. That is under the neutral Corriedales. And I'm just going to cover this up. I mean, basically, we're just making a little oval shape. And I'm going to sit here and stab this nice and smooth. I use my pen tool, but it's in my basket. I'm very excited to show you how to make the grasshopper because he's very fun. So if you wanted to do a ladybug with no legs, you could just pile the wings on, you know, and there you have it. There's your little ladybug, and you will have a head. But I really like it with legs. But we're going to put the wings on here in just a second. Once we get this all nice and smooth. We technically should have a whole bunch of videos this week because I've been on house arrest. Allergy testing is not fun. To tell a farmer they cannot sweat, they cannot do any hard work. It's like, oh my gosh, seriously? I have one more day. Actually, one more morning. Every day. Oh no, 2 more actually. I have to be there on Monday, but at least after tomorrow I can turn into a normal human again. I had to doctor up a sheep last night. I had to make John come out and catch it because she was just not cooperating with me. She's like, nope, you want me? I am not going to let you catch me. And I was not going to run around the barn after her. All right, so we've got our little body there, and you can see I'm starting to form a little head up here at the end, at the top. Just with my needle, I'm just forming this little space that will be its head. So when I made the first one, I made the head too big. I didn't like it. So then I made the second one, which is littler, and I like it. We're going to add to that in just a second. So now, remember, your dots should be the same. Think about ladybugs as they're symmetrical. I want you to bring this fringe. Kind of look where your fringe is. And we're going to take this fringe and we flip that wing upside down. You see that? Now I'm going to flip this wing upside down because we have that fringe. And I'm going to stab it along here, along where the neck is. And then I'm going to flip them. And we have our little wings on. But we need that head. We need those wings to stay down, and we need that head to be a little more finished. So we're going to add some black along here. And that will hold the wings down right here up at the top. And they'll still stick up, but this part at least we know they'll be on here solid. And I know it's hard to see when I'm felting black. You can see our little head is taking shape here. Let's flatten this out a little bit more. So the ladybug itself is pretty quick. But now I need some eyeballs. Let's put our black aside. You can use core wool, doesn't really matter. You just a little piece of white. You're gonna roll it into a little ball. I like the big giant eyeballs. And we're gonna place one in front of each wing on top of the head. This is where I get picky. I like all the white fibers to be in the eyeball, not any in the black. Let's give them another eyeball. They can be two different sizes if you want. Stick it in here. Mind your fingers when you're poking this close to your fingers. I'm using my finger to hold that white into like a little ball shape. I'm using my needle to gather those white fibers. Put them in. So far this is kind of beginner. The HeatnBond and the fiber is a little bit advanced. So there's two things you can do here. You can poke your eyeballs in with the Raven Black, or you can take a Sharpie and kind of draw where they're going to go. See how I did that? Then I'm going to take a tiny bit of black. Gather all my black fibers up because I don't want, just like I didn't want white in the black, I don't want black in the white. Make their little pupils. Does not take hardly any fibers. Gently put them in. If you poke them over, if you're over exuberant, your eyeballs will cave in, and you don't really want that to happen. Let's use our little red one, 42. 42 is a detail needle, and it's really used for just gathering up stray fibers. If you try to sit and felt with it, it will not. But it's fantastic at just grabbing a single fiber and getting it out of the way. So there we have. But he needs something. He, she. Let's get this up here. Get this off. Now you want, when you make this head, you want it kind of firm, because we're going to give it a smile. Now, I poked that in, and I do not know if that shows up on the camera. I poked in where the smile is going to be. I'm going to take some white fibers. You could put little pink cheeks too if you wanted. And I'm poking this into the divot that I made. Again, if your head's not firm enough, this will just disappear into the black void of fiber. There, we have a little smile. Okay, so our felting is done. Now comes the hard part. I don't know where I put my skewer. Okay, first set of legs goes right at the neck. So you're going to take your skewer. I have my pieces all cut here. I have 3 that are this length and 1 short one. That's the antennas. So I am just going to, like I always do, follow my skewer. And I'm kind of going to find where the center is. And this is where I use my little super glue. Don't, whatever you do, spill this on your felting pad. Ask me how I know. Or on your fingers. Love this little brush. And put a little tiny bit on there and slide this wire in. Okay, and then we'll do the next one. The next 2 just go equidistant back. You started, I hope you didn't miss all that. Right, and then 1 more leg. The reason I put them all in at one time is it gives them a minute to set up. Even though it's super glue, it takes a second. Let's put this one through. You know, you're not putting a ton of glue on here, just enough to hold that in. So there's our 3 sets of legs. And then the last one goes right here through his head. You know, you could try and stick these through without the skewer, but you know, the skewer just makes it easier. Again, a little tiny bit of glue. I love that little brush. I'm gonna set that down for just a second. Screw this lid back on. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna bend these legs. Bend them down. See, they're firmed up already. And then you're going to take your little pliers, and I just roll up the tips. I don't know if you can see that. Do it this way. Maybe you can see better. Roll up the tips. Oops, that one got a little out of control. I definitely just got some glue on my fingers. Probably on the wire. So there, oh, we gotta do our antennas. Gotta do our little antennas. Maybe let's do this. There's our little ladybug. Thing about that rusty wire is it leaves a trail sometimes. So I will take and poke in the wings just a little bit right here. Just a bit. Just to smooth up this line around the head. You can always add a little piece of fiber. Be careful if you've put glue in there and you're using your needle, it'll fill your needle right up. So you don't want to get the super glue on your needle. And there, that is our ladybug. So next we're going to do the little grasshopper. Are we doing that as part 2, Cannon?
Yeah.
Okay, so tune into part 2 and we will make a little grasshopper. Thanks for watching our buggy videos today where we made a ladybug and a grasshopper. But I want to remind you guys all of the giveaway for June is this very fun Americana sheep. So like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because that does help us out, but it also puts you in the contest. And then head over to liongate.org and enter on the website for the contest. There's a contest tab. So look for that, click, and we'll see you next time.